Police are searching this afternoon for a convicted sex offender who removed his GPS monitor last night. New at 4 as the number of coronavirus cases continues to decline. The days may be numbered for those acrylic barriers you see everywhere. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us today at 4. I'm Tony Langfellow. Well, President Joe Biden will be out of the country for a little more than a week for his first overseas trip. He'll be meeting with leaders of the G7, NATO, and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Pastor Yang says the Gospel TLC will best serve its people away from downtown Wausau. He hopes it will be somewhere in the country, away from any temptations. Marathon County Sheriff's Office is assisting the Antigo Police Department in searching for Corey Mogenberg. Officials say Corey was last seen the afternoon of Tuesday, January 12th. The legislation would set aside up to $50 million to a group to buy the mill and get it running again. News Channel 7's Stella Porter joins us in the studio here and has been tracking this bill all day. Stella, what can you tell us? Happening today, Dining on the Street is back in Wausau for the second year in a row. This year's event will begin in about 1 hour and again on Saturday. Yeah, Jeff, it is a winter wonderland out here. And as the snow continues to fall, I talked with both Marathon County Highway Department and Wausau Public Works, and they say it's been a scramble. We begin with breaking news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Homicide charges have been filed against 41-year-old Jesus Contreras Perez, who was previously charged with stalking a woman last seen in October of 2020. Well, TV's Sesame Street is celebrating Pride Month with an episode featuring 2 gay dads. The episode titled Family Day. It's CWEC's hope that one day drivers can pull up to charging stations both near and far to minimize gas emissions. As the country returns to normal, millions of Americans are making summer travel plans, and some major airlines are struggling to keep up with demand.
How's the backyard barbecue going there, Tony?
Yeah, Heather, you, Jeff, and Mark will have to stop by after the show to get some of my backyard barbecue here going. Now, I've got some burgers and hot dogs out here. And thank you, Mark. A key vote is taking place today in the Senate. Lawmakers will hold a vote on the For the People Act. Elected leaders in Wisconsin from both sides of the aisle showed their support at Juneteenth events in Milwaukee. Senator Ron Johnson stopped by. Heather, the new strain of COVID-19 is called B117, and Wisconsin is now one of about a dozen states in the U.S. to have identified this new variant. This is really one of the first tastes of winter that we're seeing right now, and as you can see, it is really coming down right now. So it's vital to remind drivers to stay safe and slow down on the roads and to take those extra safety precautions. All right, yeah, we need those umbrellas then the next couple of days.
Yes, get them handy. We've been dry. This rain could be real nice for the areas that really need it, mainly south of Highway 10.
Sounds good. All right, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight. Have a great day. Good afternoon. I'm Tony Langfellow. Thank you so much for joining us today at 4. After a week on the world stage, President Biden is turning his attention back to an uneven post-pandemic economy, sitting down with the country's leading financial regulators as bipartisan negotiations continue over infrastructure. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
We just had to hire.
Vice President Kamala Harris is paying a visit to a school in Pennsylvania. It marks Child Tax Credit Awareness Day, which is today. Harris was joined by Labor Secretary Marty Walsh to meet with students and teachers at an elementary school. The vice president is in the Steel City to push President Biden's expanded child tax credit plan, which is part of the American Rescue Plan Biden announced in Pittsburgh in March.
What we know is when
Harris says the child tax credit is one of the most important parts of the American Rescue Plan.
Details coming up.
All right, thank you, Mark. At least a dozen are dead after severe weather hit portions of the Midwest and Southeast over the weekend. A tornado ripped through the suburbs of Chicago last night. Powerful winds destroyed the roofs of homes and knocked some right off their foundations. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Claudette is battering the Southeast with heavy winds and rains. It's now on its way towards the Carolina coast. In Alabama, the National Weather Service confirmed an EF2 tornado in East Bruton. Winds topped 127 miles per hour.
It was just raining through right in front of me.
In Butler County, Alabama, a pileup crash involving more than a dozen vehicles on the interstate left 10 dead, including a father from Tennessee and his 9-month-old daughter. A man charged with killing another man and dumping his body has pleaded not guilty. Jared Carl remains in the Marathon County Jail on a $1 million cash bond. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide, taking a vehicle without consent, possession of THC, and obstructing an officer. The body of 20-year-old Christian Schauer was found on December 29th near the McMillan Marsh outside of Spencer. Jared Carl will return to court in August. A judge has delayed his decision on whether to charge a Wauwatosa police officer who killed a man while on duty. Joseph Mensah shot Jay Anderson Jr. in 2016. Anderson was the second of 3 people Mensah killed during a 5-year stint with the Wauwatosa Police Department. Prosecutors cleared him of any criminal wrongdoing in each case. Judge Glenn Yamahiro was scheduled to decide on Friday, but the Anderson family attorney says the decision has been pushed back to July 28th. School advocates are raising concern that the Republican-authored state budget doesn't commit enough state aid to education. This is despite the federal government being set to pump billions of dollars in coronavirus relief aid into Wisconsin districts. The GOP-controlled budget committee gave schools $128 million over the next 2 years. The state needed to spend almost $400 million more than that to secure $2.3 billion in federal coronavirus relief money. School leaders from around the state are urging the Republican-controlled legislature to do more. A major ruling by the Supreme Court today regarding a compensation battle with college athletes. The Supreme Court ruling unanimously the NCAA cannot enforce rules limiting education-related benefits, a decision that could shape the future of college sports and how athletes are compensated. The case doesn't decide whether students can be paid salaries, but it does allow them to receive other benefits like postgraduate scholarships, paid internships, and computers. The NCAA had argued the limits were necessary to preserve the amateur nature of college sports.
These athletes have limited resources in their ability to advocate for themselves.
The decision comes as debate heats up in Congress over whether athletes should profit from the use of their name, image, and likeness. Even though there is still no NCAA legislation in place, state-specific NIL laws will take effect next month, allowing student athletes to start accepting endorsement deals. We're almost 1 month away from the Summer Olympics, and organizers are finally making a decision whether to allow local spectators. This comes as Japan takes new steps to speed up its vaccine rollout. The stands won't be empty at this summer's Olympics. Tokyo 2020 organizers announcing today some local spectators will be allowed to attend the games.
We will consider either canceling or minimizing live areas and public viewing areas, and in addition reassess related events so that we can propose a new safe and secure way to cheer.
The decision goes against recommendations by Japan's top medical advisor, who said the safest way to hold the games is without fans. Japan's prime minister says the fan policy could change if conditions worsen. The CDC is investigating an increase in reports of a cardiac condition in young people who have gotten a COVID-19 vaccine. It's a condition called myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle. The body's immune system causes the swelling in response to an infection or some other trigger. Since April, the CDC says more cases of myocarditis have been reported in the U.S., especially in young people who have gotten either the Moderna or Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. While some parents may be concerned, U.S. health experts say COVID-19 should be your focus.
For kids 12 and older who are eligible to receive the vaccine, if I had a child in this age range, I would absolutely get them vaccinated today.
The CDC says there has not been a similar reporting pattern of myocarditis in those who received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Some studies show the Delta variant of COVID-19 is twice more likely to send you to the hospital. UW Health says we could very well see some hot spots in the state and around the country. It's more likely in places where vaccination rates are low, but they don't think it would be nearly as bad as last fall.
For the most part, that 65-plus group that is most susceptible to something doesn't mean you should.
He says the Delta variant won't shut down progress completely, but it could make things difficult in some states and counties where vaccination rates are low. Got a trip planned? Up next, why it might not be too late to sign up for travel rewards. Stay with us.
The Central Wisconsin Children's Museum in Point is responding to comments made by State Representative Shay Sortwell.
The Republican from the 2nd District in northeastern Wisconsin compared the museum's COVID-19 protocols to the Nazi Party. News Channel 7's Tony Langfellow joins us live in the studio to explain what happened. Tony?
Yeah, Jeff Cassandra, the Central Wisconsin Children's Museum says it's unfair to be called out by a state representative for trying to keep their guests safe. Well, Representative Sortwell stands by his statement.
I said, the Gestapo wants to see your papers, please. That's it. That's what I said. and I absolutely stand by my statement.
It was this statement in a Facebook post by State Representative Shay Sortwell that sparked controversy over the COVID-19 protocols at the Central Wisconsin Children's Museum. Sortwell believes his comparison to Nazi Germany is accurate.
I stand by my statement that you have a right to your medical privacy. No government, no business has a right to your medical information, and I stand by it.
The policy that Sortwell is referencing at the Children's Museum is that they will be requiring masks for anyone over 5 years old that is unvaccinated. The announcement goes on to say that if you cannot prove you're vaccinated, you must wear a mask.
We thought we would give people the option, if they're willing to show us their card, then they can go without a mask.
Roosh admits he's gotten backlash from many other guests about their policy, but says it's important they keep everyone healthy. He says Sortwell's actions were unexpected.
I was really surprised that a state representative would put that out there without talking to us and clarifying and, getting some information from us.
Roosh has a professional teaching license in history and says comparing a period of anti-Semitism, hatred, and killing to a pandemic is unwarranted.
Nazi Germany wasn't in a pandemic, and nobody's enjoying this.
Sortwell says his statement is not anti-Semitic.
And I think it's ridiculous that some people from the other side of the aisle in particular are spending their time trying to claim that this is somehow anti-Semitic, as if history can never repeat itself.
Now, Representative Sortwell has been an outspoken opponent of mask and vaccine mandates. The Children's Museum wants to make it clear that a vaccine is not required to enter their building. It's becoming a long-time tradition that Auburndale students look forward to. And this year, even the pandemic isn't stopping them from getting out and experiencing nature firsthand.
Here's an older maple tree. How about this one back here?
It doesn't take Mark Canoyer's 7th grade agri-science class much convincing to take a break from the books.
Mr. Canoyer allows us to go out here a lot and get out of the desk for a while, because this year we have to be in our desk most of the day.
The sapping program began about 5 years ago by Canoyer. It provides an opportunity for students to see firsthand that nature is full of surprises.
In this day and age, they need something outside, and this is a perfect mass break for them. It is a way of getting outdoors and appreciating what Wisconsin has to offer.
Oh, yeah.
The long week of tapping for sap
afterwards, you get a drink, you get to eat all the syrup.
Is an experience like no other.
It's really nice outside, and I've never done this before, and I've learned a lot from it.
Over 250 trees were tapped last year, bringing a total of about 2,000 gallons of sap. Students learn everything from tapping, tree biology, and even the physics, which makes it possible.
It's not anything very, fancy. It's just making the woods work for us and using that slope and using physics of water to send it and using Sir Isaac Newton to bring it to a centralized location for us.
Even the community benefits from the students' hard work. Over the coming weeks, all of that sap will be boiled and turned into syrup. Come March 21st, homemade pancakes will be served under Mother Nature's sugar.
Wisconsin maple syrup, in my opinion, is second to none, and it's something that everybody should experience.
Canoyer says getting the kids out in nature helps build a sense of community. That's so hard to find in the time of COVID.
It's a welcomed outdoor education adventure. We can have a little bit of normalcy here in the hour and a half that we're together every day.
In Auburndale, Tony Langfellow, News Channel 7.